Today, we're diving into a topic that quietly affects a significant number of children: speech, language, and communication needs, or SLCN. It might not always have been identified in the children you work with, but the signs may still be there. And the good news is, as a TA, your support can make a huge difference. So, what are speech, language, and communication needs? Let's break down some of these words and their meanings. So, speech is how clearly we pronounce words. Language is about understanding and using words, grammar, sentences, etc. to communicate. And communication is the bigger picture and includes body language, eye contact, tone of voice, etc. Some children have difficulties in one area, others struggle across all three. Sometimes it's picked up early, sometimes it's not. So, what might you notice in the classroom? You might work with a child who doesn't follow simple instructions, especially when they're two parts. So, if you say something like, get your whiteboard and sit on the carpet, a child might rarely speak or use only a few words or phrases, and it's not if they've got EAL. That's a completely different issue. When they've got EAL, English as an additional language, they're learning English, and that will be why they might rarely speak. A child might struggle to find the right word, lots of pointing or using the word that instead. They might echo what others say, but don't use their own words much. And they find it hard to join in with group discussions or games. They may appear to ignore adults when actually they may not understand what's being said. And an issue with all of this is that their difficulties may not have been identified as speech, language, and communication needs. And when speech, language, and communication needs, SLCN, haven't yet been identified, a child's struggles can easily be misinterpreted as something else. So here are some of the most common misdiagnoses, if you want, for the want of a better word, or misunderstandings. So SLCN might be mistaken for behaviour issues or defiance. Children with SLCN might seem to ignore instructions, walk away mid-task, refuse to engage in discussion or group work. But what's really happening? Well, they might not understand what's being asked. They may feel overwhelmed or fear getting it wrong, so they disengage or act out. SLCN might be mistaken for learning difficulties. If a child can't express ideas clearly or follow instructions, their academic potential might appear lower than it actually is. Their work may be incomplete or off topic, not due to lack of ability, but lack of understanding or expressive language. SLCN can mask a child's true ability. They may know more than they can say or show. 3. SLCN might be mistaken for autism spectrum conditions or communication or other communication issues. A child who avoids eye contact, doesn't join in with group play, or struggles with conversation might be assumed to have ASC. However, some of these traits overlap with language processing difficulties or limited exposure to rich verbal interaction. And a key difference is children with SLCN often want to connect, they're just not sure how they can do it. SLCN might be mistaken for attention difficulties, so ADHD. Children with SLCN may zone out during instructions or seem inattentive. This might be due to language processing delays, not because they're distracted, but because they're still working on the first instruction when the second one's already landed. So always consider whether it's a listening issue or a language comprehension issue. SLCN might be mistaken for emotional difficulties or attachment difficulties. With limited ability to express themselves, children may become frustrated, anxious, or withdrawn. Adults might assume they're shy, overly sensitive, or emotionally insecure. So, behaviour is communication, and unmet communication needs often look like emotional dysregulation. As a TA, you're often the first adult to spot subtle patterns in a child's day. When SLCN goes unnoticed, it can lead to inappropriate responses like punitive behaviour plans or low expectations. But when it's understood for what it is, everything changes. Support becomes more effective. The child feels safer, and progress, both academic and emotional, becomes possible. Now, before we go any further, if this video is giving you value so far, please give it a thumbs up because that will encourage YouTube to send it out to more TAs like you, which is really important. So that thumbs up means a lot. Thank you. Now, here are some things you can do to support children who have been identified as having SLCN and those who haven't been identified who may still have it. So, 1. Slow down and simplify your language. Use short, clear sentences. Give one instruction at a time. Leave pause time with children with SLCN because they need more time to process and respond. So, for instance, you would say, put down your pencil, pause, now look at the board, rather than put your pencil down and look at the board so we can get started. That's too much. They can't process all that as quickly as children without an SLCN need, a speech and language communication need. 2, use visuals and gestures. Pair your words with pictures, objects, or simple gestures. Create mini visual prompts. So you can have a prompt for a toy as a toilet pass, a snack symbol, stop, go, sit down, stand up. You know, there's so many visuals that you could actually use. And I'm always saying visuals are so important, and I just think you should just be using them anyway. 3, model language, don't just correct it. So if a child says dog run, reply with, yes, the dog ran fast. They hear the correct form without feeling corrected. And expand their phrases gently. So if the child says big car, you can say, yes, a big red car. So you're gradually adding more words to their vocabulary and their understanding. 4, use repetition and routine. So repeat key vocabulary during the day so they get to hear it often. Stick to predictable phrases and classroom routines so you're not confusing them. And give advanced warning before changes. So for instance, in 5 minutes we're going to tidy up. Better still, use an egg timer. It's something that's visible. They can see the sand running through it. They know that there is going to be a transition. 5, be a speech partner, not a speech tester. So don't keep quizzing them, what's this, what's that. That's too much. Other children, may benefit from that, but children with this condition won't. So instead, play alongside and comment. You've got the car. Oh, it's going up the ramp. So you're sort of kind of creating a commentary, or you could say, you've opened your book, you're ready to work. So think build connection, not build pressure. 6, listen for meaning, not just words. So sometimes the effort to communicate is more important than accuracy. If a child says bar bar and points to the board, acknowledge, yes, you want the whiteboard. Praise communication attempts, tone, gestures, eye contact, not just perfect sentences. And 7, work closely with the teacher and SENCO. So you could keep a small notebook to jot down what works or where a child struggles. Remember to keep it completely confidential. Don't put the child's full name in there. Share any aha moments. For example, they used a full sentence today when we were outside. That could actually show, where the motivation is. Maybe they, love being outside and they feel more motivated to communicate accurately. Ensure you use any speech and language strategies already in place because consistency matters. Yes. So, if, always check whether a child has received a diagnosis. And if not, speak to your SENCO about what strategies could be put in place to see if it makes a difference. Because if those strategies make a difference, that either does mean they need to be put forward for a diagnosis, or it could mean that there are other issues. But either way, I always think, if you use multiple layers, different ways to communicate with the whole of your class, then more of the children in your class are going to understand what they're required to do. So you don't need to be a speech therapist to help a child with SLCN. What you do need is patience, curiosity, and a willingness to meet the child where they are. Every small step counts. Your calm presence, your careful words, and your steady routines. These are powerful tools in building a child's confidence to communicate. So it is about being consistent. If a child knows what you're going to do next, that all helps them to cope with life in the classroom. I really hope this video has helped you. And if you're looking for more clear, practical support to boost your confidence as a teaching assistant, then you might like to see all my free TA in Control resources. Whether you're navigating SEND support, behaviour strategies, or everyday classroom tasks, these resources are created to be immediately useful. So no fluff, no jargon, just helpful tools you can put into action right away. If you'd like to get your hands on all my free resources, like the ones you can see here, that will help you continue the wonderful work you do, type free resources please in the comment section below this video. And thank you so much for watching.